Hello everyone, my name is NoPandan and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on Sword Bastards, a game about being bastards in the streets. And a lover in the sheets. So, I got my coffee. It's only, let me just put things away. Because I am living in squalor currently. So yes, hello. First things first, I would like to thank TFermi, Tuffermi. I'd like to thank Tuffermi and Manifestophiles. I did that in the first time. Go me. For following. Thank you all for following. We had 232 followers. Good job, team. Yeah. Not Tufty. TFERMI. Tfermi. Sounds like one of the gremlins. Look, Gandalf, it's Tfermi. What are we going to do with him? Oh no, Mr. Frodo. You are followed by gremlins. Mr. Frodo. Mr. Frodo. We're being followed by gremlins. Mr. Frodo. Yes, hello, welcome aboard. Nothing too exciting today. As usual, let's be perfectly frank with ourselves here. We're going to be working on Sword Bastards, however, and if you can kind of see here, today is Combat Day. A program are using to make my note Sona wobble, to make me wobble. I am using, it's called Vadotube, I believe, Vadotube Mini. Yeah, I am using that. I used to be using a thing that was a Japanese program that just kind of made it go back and forth. I like that a lot because it was really simple to set up. But I decided to upgrade. Well, I guess you would call it upgrade, but yeah. So yeah, here we are. I thought this was going to be a lot more complicated than this, but it wasn't. Technically, there's like a bunch of other things. Would be cool for, because a friend wanted to use something like that. Character wobble. Technically, I think there is a way to get like multiple people to do it. Like actually like having multiple characters go off at once. You know, on like even the same stream and stuff. I believe there is a way of them talking about it. Give me 1 second. I will Google it for you because there we go. There we are. It's this. Pay Notepad. Cool. Let's run an ad. For my whole 2 view. I actually checked today. Today was the first day. I actually checked how much money I've made off Twitch. And in the process of a little over about 3 years, about 3-4 years of doing this, I've made $20. 20 whole dollars. Good job, team. I am in agony. See, what I should do. Now, here's the thing. What I should do is stream more on YouTube. Because that's where a lot of people go. I should stream on the YouTubes. The only issue with streaming on YouTube really is the fact that it's just kind of weirdly inconvenient. And that weird inconvenience does make things just a little bit like, my enthusiasm for streaming on there is a little bit less. I've never really had great experiences streaming on YouTube. So every time I'm like, oh, you should stream on YouTube, it's like, I can, but oh. Bing chilling. Yes, people are saying Bing chilling to me. though the video, I should actually, because I do this too often, and I should talk about my own things more. New video came out today. Hello, phone. Put you over here. New video came out today, the Meandering Thoughts one. People seem to like it, mostly people telling me my ideas are terrible. Not really, calling me like a fucking moron, but just a lot of these are like, these would be a better board game. These would be a better this. This would be a better this. Though I did get a lot of people like wondering how to do the Blind Cosmos thing. So, hey, time to steal every single one of their ideas with ruthless efficiency. So, oof. Let's see. The time comes when the time comes, swords are drawn. Swords are drawn, insults are hurled. Let's see, swords are drawn, insults are hurled, and the duel begins. And the duel begins. Fighting in the streets is common. Fighting in the streets is common for the. Let's see. Fighting in the streets is common for the. Let's see. Fighting in the streets is common for the poor sections of the city. Forcing those to rely on the strong to keep them safe. Often the day watch will actually no, we'll do often the watch will break up any fight, but often the watch will break up any fight, but many of these duels find themselves in more private settings, often with the cover of darkness, to shield them from prying eyes. The bastards are accomplished fighters. Individuals who are risk it all in the tense back and forth of sword fighting. The intense back and forth of sword fighting. Intense back and forth of back alley brawls. Flash of blades in the street. So, basic understanding. What is a duel? Duels are actually say in Sword Bastards. A duel is a competition between two or more fighters in a tense exchange. And let's see. Sword Bastard duel is a competition between two or more fighters in a tense exchange of blows. Trying to defeat one another with a decisive strike. I do actually write in what up here a little bit. All cards have been placed on both. Let's see. What does it do? Is it trying to defeat one another with a decisive strike? Dueling is not a traditional combat. Actually, no. How do I want to word this? Actually, what dueling isn't is striking down unaccomplished fighter, actually, how do I wouldn't say unarmed, but like striking isn't dueling isn't what dueling is actually. Dueling is actually, I don't want to word this. Pretty much the entire idea is that, like, when you get into a duel, you get into an honest to God duel, it is with someone who is competent in a fight. That is an important thing. This is not a guy holding a sword, being like, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna fight you. And it's not like this person needs to know what the fuck they're doing. And if he doesn't know what you're doing, it's not really going to be a duel. It's going to be you making a check to disarm him or stab him in the fucking face. It's not really a fight in the traditional sense. A duel is, this person knows how to fight, he's drawn his sword, you've drawn yours, it's time to go. We're going to start now going at each other. And that's the goal. That's like kind of what I want to get across here. If you want to know what the decisive strike, fighting civilian. Let's see, duels are between competent fighters. Those matched in both skill and determined. Between competent fighters, those trained in the arts of combat with enough know-how to deflect, with enough knowledge. Let's see. Parries, thrust, strikes, and swift kick to the nethers. Learn the parries, thrust, and those trained in the arts of combat with enough knowledge to learn the parries, thrust, strikes, and swift kicks to the nethers. Put up a good fight. Dueling is not for the untrained or unable. Not for the untrained or unable. If a bastard draws on a person who is unable to defend themselves, even if armed, they won't be initiating a duel at all. They won't be initiating a duel at all. Instead, they will use let's see, use a standard challenge. They will use a challenge to disarm, disable, or outright kill their target. Let's see. Use a challenge to disarm, disable, or outright kill a target. If the person draws their own, let's see. If the person draws and assumes a fighting position. Person draws and assumes a fighting position. A duel is called, and the two get ready for their bout with destiny. Dueling basics. Dueling, Thrust sweep. Let's. Yeah. Thrust sweep and counter. Let's see. No, Pan, how many streams do you think are left for this stream? If I were to be conservative, 2, including this one. 2, maybe 3. No, Pat, something interesting I've learned in school. I had to take a lot of communication journalism class as part of the marketing track. The more journalism class I take, the more I realize I really, really fucking hate journalists. Journalists are fine. It depends on the kind you're dealing with, though. Wouldn't a reverse roulette just be a roulette? A circle doesn't have sides after all. Reverse roulette, the name is that way because the player is the one is pretty much the one choosing the number. That's the issue. That's the thing with it. That's the reason why it's called that way. Instead of being the random, like, instead of the player calling, hey, I want all black, all on black, all on red, only this, only that. It's the GM calling that, and you're the one putting down the number. You're effectively making a gamble. Reverse roulette. Is that the right term? No, but I guess that's the one we're going with, because I can't really think of a better name than what to call it. Usually the thing when people say they hate journalists, here's the thing, this is an important thing to know. When people say they hate journalists, they don't really hate honest-to-God journalists. They don't. They really don't. Because journalists do their job. They tell you the news. It's that you look at the news, you write the articles. Those are journalists. They're fine. Nobody's got an issue with journalists. What they've got an issue with are people who think they're journalists and in fact are just pretentious. Yeah, people hate the columnist, and a lot of people who go into those journalism, courses and things like that. I should know because I went through one. A lot of them think they're going to be either the next Tucker Carlson or they're going to be the next Rachel Maddow. Every single one of them wants to be the next great American writer. They want to be the next great American, journalist, or they want to work for BuzzFeed. That do opinions and news websites because they are all opinion and many like to make it be extra controversial. Well, yeah, like this is a known fact of life. Like you got to remember this core fact of day-to-day life when it comes to journalism is that those columnists, those opinion pieces, those used to be fun things. Those used to be like, here's the news, here's a guy who's been on the beat for 30 years. That's the thing. It's, like, hey, I've been on the cop beat for 30 years. This is my opinion on the thing. This is what I think. And it would sometimes be like, this is just my opinion. This isn't true, this isn't fact, but I think this. Cool, that's fun, that's interesting. You used to learn a lot about it because you would know the person writing it. Hey, that's Bill Katowski, and Bill Katowski is always going to be the guy reporting on all the crime stuff, and he's the one who busts the big stories anytime there's a big thing happening at a town hall. So in his opinion, the big funding thing is a good thing, or it's like, okay, then it must be a good thing, or at least that's what he thinks. What happened over the years, so the thing you got to remember, what happened over the years is that people really liked the opinion pieces. They loved the opinion pieces. People would buy papers to read the right opinion pieces. So a lot of people, you want to get the right opinion pieces in, you want to get the right things in, and news, how do I want to word this? News is boring. I hate to break it to everybody here, news is really boring, but it's important. You know, it is like nobody really wants to like jump at the bit and be like, hey everybody, I want to learn about my local community council and their decision to host Arbor Day festivals. Like, that doesn't really get people clicking, that doesn't really get people buying papers. But community council representative donates $1 million to Arbor Day Foundation, murders puppy or something. Like, that's like, oh, people want to look at that. People click on it. People stay on it. People keep watching the ads. People keep doing things like that. News is a business. Journalism is a business. And that business is driven by advertisement. We would all love to believe, every single one of us would love to believe that none of these things would be, all of these different companies and stuff would be working just for the betterment of people. That's just not true. Because they can't do it. Do I honestly think most journalists want to actually like tell the hard-hitting news and do like the fun stuff? Yeah. Well, it's not even really fun stuff. No, it's just like, just do news. Yeah, I think a lot of them want to be just in the news. They want to tell people the news. They want to do all this. But you gotta remember that that's just not how it goes all the time. It's just, truth be told, because suddenly you want to run a story. Let's just say, for example, you want to run a story, a fun story about, hey, there's a big thing happening at, this business down in this business area. Big controversies going on there. Nasty, nasty, nasty stuff. The problem is, the guy who owns you, the guy who owns that, the building you work at is involved in it. You get a call from your editor. We cannot run this story. If we run this story, we are fucked. You're like, well, that's the reason why we should run it and stuff like that. You can't. Truth be told, we need to put money, we need to put money on the table. And that's why you see with a lot of like news stuff, you don't see the really hard-hitting things anymore. Because, mostly when it comes to local stuff anyway, because that shit is nuts. Like, one bad article can kill business, because people aren't going to put ads there, especially if they're a big advertisement. If you want to see that kind of on a grander scale, it's a Wall Street Journal, for example, because Wall Street Journal, for those who don't know, was bought by Amazon a few years ago. I believe it was Wall Street Journal. And if you noticed, Wall Street Journal never published anything bad about Amazon. Nothing. Because they damn well knew the micro fucking second they did, there was going to be Amazon goon squads in there, and suddenly the books are going to get dry. Suddenly there's going to be layoffs. Suddenly it's going to be bad. So they didn't want to run those stories. There was probably a dozen stories in the Wall Street Journal that got fucking murked because you're owned by a bigger company. News Corp does not give a shit about the news. Fun fact, everyone. The guys who own like Fox News and shit, they didn't give a fuck about the news. And they don't give a shit about the news as much because they have to appeal to their shareholders. News Corp is something that you can buy. You can buy. I can be. Yeah, let's actually see. News Corp Class A stock, $17.61. You can actually even see here. Let's do a 6 month. Let's do a 1 year. Let's see. It used to be about 20, and we've dumped about $2. But it used to all the way go up about February of this year up to $21. Pretty not good, but not bad. Like, it could be a lot worse. Like, especially, now mind you, we're not dealing with 2020, not 2021, where we spiked to $26. But we're not dealing as bad as in 2020, though, where we were down to $8. People make money from this. People make a lot of money from this. And that's something you gotta kind of remember. You gotta appeal to your shareholders. News Corp. Well, yeah. And that's why you see, I think, over time, when people talk about, like, oh, all of the, business, all of these, I think Twitter finally exploded. Oh no. It's when you see things like, oh, it's MSNBC, oh, it's I'm trying to readjust my. But when you see things like MSNBC versus Fox News, for example, MSNBC has a strict group of people, probably fairly high up, whose job it is not to give a shit about the news. It's to how do we optimize to get as many people watching, as many people buying the subscriptions, as many people keeping on our thing. And that strategy has been appealing to the left. And they've sacrificed the entirety of what they would perceive as the right, as like those just aren't our target demos. And you want to know how you get people to stay? You can't run news that would be right wing at all for MSNBC. If we go in the other direction, Fox News, for example, Fox damn well knows they're not getting anyone on the left to watch them, so they will appeal more and more to the right. You're going to get opinion shows that are going to be about right-wing stuff. You're going to suddenly get a lot more news focused on that. It's about the woke moralists. We'll bring on these people. We'll bring on these people. That's kind of the idea there. Because MSNBC would be running about how much they hate the Jews if they knew for certain that they would get a heavy return about it. They damn well know. They would be advocating brown shirts and long knives if they damn well knew they would make money from it. Fox News would be hugging trees and telling everybody to stop oil if they damn well knew. Damn well fucking knew they would make money from it. That's the issue, though. And it's, yeah, appeal to the most partisan, make them your need. Well, it's not even like appeal to the most partisan. No. It's appeal to people who you're like 90% sure are going to watch it. And that's just along partisan lines. You appeal to people in kind of like various niches and stuff, things like that. That's why you'll occasionally get like weird shows on both that are like, oh, this time we'll talk about this weird talking point because we're like the guy up top is saying we can't support this right now because if we support this, that's bad. Though I will say we're gonna start get ready for all of these news companies to start ramping up about the election, because a lot of people are announcing right now. I know Joe Biden finally said like he's rerunning for some unholy fucking reason, and I can go on a very long rant about that. But so kind of bring it back full circle. When you talk about I hate journalists, you don't really hate journalists. You hate the industry. You hate the idea that a lot of these guys can't really tell you the news as much because the news is a commodity. It's a commodity ruled by these giant fucking megacorps, effectively, that want to control like what is being said at what times. Like, fuck, ABC, for example. ABC is owned by Disney. You gotta remember that. ABC is owned by Disney. It's like, like NPR, for example. NPR is usually pretty good because they get government funding. They may say, oh, we don't get any government funding. They get government funding, but they also, do things for people who donate. So it's kind of like there's a couple bit of A and B there, and but there's also a reason why Elmo has to go to fucking Congress every few years and beg for money for Sesame Street. There's a reason NPR goes to the station every now and again, goes to Congress every now and again, being like, hey, can we get some more money, please, please? Don't cut our funding. It's because you have to. So it's like, oh, well, the government doesn't like NPR because you ran a bunch of shitty articles about them when they were losing. then yeah, we're gonna probably cut your fucking budget. Like, there's a couple people I know, and probably you're mostly kind of Republican, who would love to kill NPR or just gut NPR entirely and replace it with their own people. But that's welcome to politics. Fun fact, did you know that BlackRock owed several $1 million of Fox News? Why they weirdly fall in line with talking points and make investment bankers unhappy. Yeah, welcome to the wonderful world of investment. And welcome to people owning one another and, you know, big stakes, and suddenly you realize, like, wait a second, this guy owns like 4 shell companies who owns like a shit ton of this. Like, yeah, you do get some wowie zowie. That's some weird stuff going on. Whoops. So let's get down. How do I want to word this? Okay. Let's see. Blades drawn and ready to fight. Also, if you want a little bit more of a microcosm of this, look at like any of those Twitter accounts that have like Roman statues on them. Every single one of them, same shit, same idea. The fight's broken out. 2 figures stand apart from one another. Blades drawn and ready to fight, and ready to die for their cause. Because a duel has started. When a duel kicks off, the aggressor, once starting the duel, or in a the aggressor or the or the one with the highest combat skill. Actually, when a duel kicks off, both fighters will draw up to their combat stance. Actually, both fighters will announce. Both fighters will announce their. They call it combat style, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we'll announce their fighting style. Let's see. Both fighters will announce their fighting style. We'll announce their fighting style, drawing up to their combat skill in it. Drawing up to their combat skill in cards to their hand. Drawing up to their combat skill and cards to their hand. Depending on the fighting style. Let's see. Depending on the fighting style. One fighter will place down a card. Depending on the fighting style, one fighter will place down a card. Actually, put a footnote. Agility, brutal, deliberate, fanciful. Let's see. Agility, brutal, deliberate, fanciful. One fighter will place down a card in one of 3 areas in front of them, representing their left, center, and right. The left, right, and center, representing their left, right, and center. After placing their card, the next fighter will place theirs. This continues until each card of the fighters has been placed. Let's see. This continues until each card of the fighter until the cards in the fighter's hands. The fighter's hands till each of the cards in the fighter's, god, that's such a fucking weird sentence. Until all of the cards on both sides have been played. Have been placed in one until all the this continues until how do I want to word this? Actually, until one. How do I want to do this? Because I actually no. Actually, I'm placing we'll place theirs. This continues until one of three situations occur. Until one of three situations occur. The first is that neither party has any cards left. Neither party has any cards left. Playing all of them once. Secondly, actually, we can do none of the combatants. The combatants have any more cards in their hand, and this is going to be an actual time for a bullet point list, just because it's fairly important. None of the combatants have any in their hand. Yeah, one party declares on guard. One party declares on guard. Let's see, one party declares on guard. Determining initiative. Let's see. Determining initiative between the fighters. Determining initiative between the fighters. One party declares on guard. After let's see. None of the combatants have any more cards in their hand. One party declares on guard after 2 rounds of placements. The 2 rounds of placements, so pretty much after 2 rounds of you placing your cards down, they're gonna go. So it really favors the person who has it already. Anime PFP, anime profile pictures are, again, 90% of the time they're going to be either fanatical racists or hardcore communists. Nothing in between. Two situations occur. None of the combatants have more cards in their hand. One party declares on guard after 2 rounds of placement. If unguard is declared, both shit. How do I want to do? Okay, if unguard is declared, both parties reveal their remaining hand. Whoever has the highest value card will seize the initiative. Will seize the initiative. Whoever has the highest value card will seize the initiative. If no more cards are in hand, then whoever placed the first card has the initiative. Place down a card face down in one of the 3. After placing their cards, the next fighter will place theirs. Place the first card. If no more cards are in hand, then whoever placed the first card has the initiative. Whoever has the initiative selects which of the 3 locations. The 3 locations will be flipped over first. Let's see. Which of the 3 locations will be flipped over first? Then alternating to the other side, to the opponent, and finally back for the last bout. So it's kind of like one of those things where if you win initiative, you get to choose who flips first. Then they get to choose. Then you technically choose the last one. That's kind of the idea. Select one of 3 locations will be flipped over first, alternating other opponents, and finally back for the last bout. This leads to the comparison of the round. Where steel will clash and blood spilled. Let's put this in here. Like, this is a very esoteric way of doing things, but it's like, okay, I've got to just explain this in graphic fucking detail. It. Drawing their comments going.